Sean Capri, and welcome to We the GamerCast. It publishes on podcast and youtube.com/UBCapri every single Monday. Patrons get it first. Thank you guys for subscribing and hitting the like button, telling your mom, telling your dad, telling your friends, everybody that you know, dropping flyers at the local mall, putting them in, the thing in the wipers. You take the wiper up, then you put the flyer in, then you put the wiper down, and hopefully somebody finds it and they don't throw it away immediately. Thank you guys so much. What is with my voice? I don't think that I'm sick. Can you hear this? What the heck is going on? Maybe we'll fix it in post. Probably not. I had to do the hey a couple of times. I sounded like a 12-year-old. I was going like, hey, and then I decided to do it over again, only to tell you about it afterwards. So there. Thank you guys so much for being here. We've got a great show for you. TPR. Many of you have heard us answer questions of TPRs on the Nintendo Drive, the Xbox Drive, probably the PlayStation Drive, over in PSVG land, over in, I think the trophy room as well, man. Holy crap. TPR, one of the most supportive and active members of the community, is here. You get to know who this guy is. That's the magic of We the GamerCast, but I'm getting a little far ahead of myself because if you're new, here's the deal. Every week, I have sweet hangs with strangers from the internet, and if you want to be on the show, you just tweet at me, at Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. We are keeping it rolling, man, and I'm feeling pretty good. These last couple of weeks have been pretty decent, I would say. Johnathan Brown a couple of weeks ago, or last week, I should say. Captain Logan a couple of weeks ago, really good. So if you're new, go back. These are pretty evergreen, I would say. That's kind of the nice thing. I've been chatting with a few people who are looking forward to coming on the show, and they're like, so what topics do we cover? I'm like, I don't know, man. Like whatever comes up is basically what we do around here. And there's a lot of people who like to listen to the show, and a lot of people who support us, and a lot of people who support us at a particularly amazing level. And I want to take an opportunity to thank the more than 70 patrons who support us at patreon.com/UBCapri. You get exclusive content, you get early access, you get to be part of a really cool exclusive channel in the Discord. The rest of the Discord is free, by the way, links in the show notes. So I wanted to say thank you to our Capremium producers, Dallas Ford, Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. You can join me and the rest of the Phoenix Overdrive at extralife.org. Links in the show notes. We raise money for those kids. Johnathan Brown, the man behind the music on the Xbox Drive and the Nintendo Drive. You can download his album, In My Element, on Spotify and Apple Music. Our platinum producers, Robbie Bobby Miller and Trucker Sloth, and all of our gold members, Argo, Brendan Myers, Dallas Robbins, Dano, Emily O'Kelly, Foolish Fuji, Joel Brooks, Jose Jimenez, Mac Time, Marcus O'Neill, Mr. and Mrs. Nasty Boots, RJ Kern, Skinny Matt, Tony Baker, and Xavier Reyes. And guys, welcome in Dave Moore from the Snack Network, previous co-host of the Xbox Drive, creator of the Xbox Drive. Dave Moore was the guy I was on a Skype call with originally when we're like, why don't we do our own Xbox show? We could do it like this. We're on a Skype call. I'm driving to work. That's it. Dave Moore, welcome in, man. Thank you so much for your support. Enjoy all the exclusive content. You're one of many, and I thank so many of you guys for all of your support. And also, speaking of the Patreon, you guys saw the picture, the illustration, my absolutely incredible artwork of Ryan Turford riding a moose. So if you guys want to go to patreon.com/UBCapri, you can find out what the heck I'm even talking about. You guys, so much to get to. I busted out the Xbox 360 this week, played it with the kiddos. I don't even know how that even came up. It must have been, I don't know, we were talking about something, talking about music, and I think Lincoln was talking about playing the drums, and I'm like, hang on a second, this is the moment I've been waiting for. Went out into the garage, busted out this dusty old cardboard box with everything, just kind of jammed in there, because let's be honest, those drums, for Rock Band, the drums are pretty unwieldy. How are you supposed to nicely stack those things? Stacking is not a thing with those drums. So we busted out that box. The box was pretty nasty. I'm not gonna lie, the box is no more. We have destroyed the box. It has been eradicated. We had to clean off those instruments all pretty good. But we had a great night playing Rock Band 2, and now it's all the kids are talking about, man. It's so great because Rock Band 2, I'm realizing, I don't remember if Rock Band 1 had this. Rock Band 2, now that I'm playing it once again for the first time in 12 years, has an amazing no-fail mode, which, we always thought was great for parties and everybody's drinking and everything, and nobody really knew how to play. You were just there for a good time. Obviously, I'm rediscovering this with kids. They're not they're not so great at the drums. They don't even know how to play. And we've got to do the whole like training mode and whatever. That'll be for another day. But for right now, they just want to see like notes on the screen and music playing, and they want to hit a little instrument. They want to sing into the microphone. Like Lincoln, hearing his voice in the speakers is like he's so happy. And all I want to do right now is go in and unlock the rest of the songs, because I don't know what happened, man. My save file isn't there. It's not in the cloud. I must have had, I don't even know how many 360s I had, like a lot of you guys. It wasn't even necessarily a red ring thing. I mean, you have to remember too, like Chelsea and I were getting together at about that time. Like that's when we first started dating, was in the 360 PS3 era. And when did the Xbox One came out or PS4 in 2013, something like that? So yeah, Chelsea and I had already been together for a bit. So we were kind of like combining consoles already. So I actually am not sure which Xbox this is. This might be hers that we busted out. But in any case, Rock Band, super fun. I'm playing with the kids, but then also I'm playing without the kids because I want to unlock all the songs, because that's the point I was saying about my saves not being there. Like you get like the first starter pack of songs. And while my kids have no problem playing the same songs over and over again, that is a fast way to insanity for me. So I want to expand our horizons and all that good stuff, man. But I was looking at it. I remembered that you could export your Rock Band 1 songs into Rock Band 2. You can't do that anymore, you guys. Some of you probably already knew this, but I gave it a shot. I thought for sure that I thought I knew that was the case, but I'm like, let's give it a try. Let's see if there's any way to do this. But no, man, those licenses are long gone. But what a great feature back in the day that you could basically have Rock Band 1 in Rock Band 2. Like that's like, do we see anything like that? It kind of reminds me of the Mass Effect and the Dragon Age saves and the stories kind of carrying over from one to the next. Like, where is this continuity, man? I would like more of this. So now that Xbox or Microsoft owns Guitar Hero, bring it back, man. Now is the time. People are waiting for it. They want it. We want the plastic instruments back in our homes. So stay tuned for more stories about Rock Band. I am playing Horizon. I can't remember if it was on this show that I mentioned. I'm not allowed to say, but I have been playing Horizon. I'm still very early in that. I took a tumble. Some of you saw on Twitter. Took a fall down 3 steps on Thursday. I was literally coming down to stream. I had my Diet Coke in hand. And even as I was walking along the floor, I'm like, my socks feel kind of slippery. And I just like feet, like ass over tea kettle, just totally feet like horizontal. My Diet Coke spilled everywhere. So it took me a little while to clean it up and put my pride back together and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, little distracted. And it was one of those like, I think I'm okay, but ow, and my pride, ooh. And then you wake up the next morning and I'm asking Chelsea, like, are there bruises on my back? Because not feeling so hot, but doing okay. Doing okay, man. This isn't going to stop me. I'm going to go skiing with Lincoln again today. We've got a long weekend here in, I think, most, or if not all places in Canada. It is family day for me on Monday as you are listening to this. So a nice, we'll spend time with the family. I think that's what it's meant for. Very, very cool. Lots of games that I'm going to leave to maybe talk about during, on the Xbox Drive and the Nintendo Drive. If you guys aren't already subscribed over there, please do. Check out the Xbox Drive. Check out the Nintendo Drive that I do with Ryan Turford and Console Cato, respectively. I want to be talking about the Chorus demo. That's a game that Luke Laura was talking about a long time ago that I was like, I got to get into this. Looks awesome. Wii Sports, of course. Although, are we allowed to talk about that? What if I call it Wii Sports? I'll talk about Wii Sports. Totally not talking about the beta thing that's happening over on Nintendo Switch. Totally unrelated. And then Pokemon and all these other things. And finally, Spiritfarer. The group, the team, the community in the Yumi Capri Discord, that includes you if you want to be. Just join it. It's free. Everybody can join in the Discord. Join the Backtrackers crew. They're tackling Spiritfarer. The Backtrackers is a video game book club, and everybody's playing the same game all at the same time. March 5th at 11 o'clock a.m. on the Discord. Everybody's getting together, and they're talking about it. So you should be there. One thing I think that people are discovering as they're playing is it might be a little longer than we thought originally, but it's a gorgeous game. People should definitely, at the very least, try it out. It's on Game Pass. Check it out. Join the Backtrackers. Very, very cool stuff happening in the Discord. I love to see it. You guys are amazing. Now, TPR is my guest. He probably could have been on the show like, I don't know, a couple months ago, to be honest with you, but now is the time. And I think he's going to be back, which is great. And I probably say that about everybody. But this is somebody who I've really only known through an avatar, like a profile picture and text for the most part. And so it's so cool. I love doing this show because like these people who we see in the Discord and on Twitter and hear their questions on other podcasts, like they come to life, man. So sit back, enjoy this conversation with my good friend TPR.
I think people are sleeping on it a bit. Like the Discord integration on PS5, if they get voice chat parties into there, like for me, that would be.
Do you think that's happening?
Game changer.
Do you think that's really going to happen?
Well, I think they didn't make the partnership just to show your status on Discord that you're playing a game. I don't think.
Well, I would hope not, but I feel like this has happened before where we see like, oh, they're getting together and something's happening. It's like, that is so not what we were thinking when you said you were announcing a partnership. But I don't know, maybe this is just a start. I hope so.
Yeah, true.
Because I want those walls broken down even just a little bit.
Yeah, man.
I'm trying to think of like, what incentive do they have to do that though?
I don't know. I just don't want to deal with a mixer and like 6 different wires coming out of 8 different things just to hear everything and talk to people.
Yeah, no thing. Well, and that's the other side too, though, is you end up like playing at your console. But then in order to use Discord right now, it's like it's amazing that we actually jump through the hoops when you think about it. Mm-hmm. Because like party chat on PlayStation or Xbox is like, it is easier and more convenient than, I don't know, playing on your PlayStation, for example, and then having your laptop sitting next to you so that you can use Discord and like having another set of headphones and or microphones. Right. In addition to the audio that you've got set up for your PlayStation, like that's a pain in the ass, and people do it every day.
Yeah, I have to like, if I want to talk to people on another server and I'm playing a game on PlayStation, I have the PlayStation downstairs in the entertainment center, and it's like I'm not bringing a computer down. So what do? I plug my headphones or my mic into my phone and just talk to people there with one ear off so I can hear the game audio. It's kind of like.
Yep.
Really janky.
Well, and I always wonder that about people because I end up sitting there doing exactly the same thing. And I always wonder about everybody. I'm like, is everybody doing this? Like, I feel like maybe I'm not getting some sort of secret to mixing these two things together, but this is kind of a pain, but I guess we all just live with it.
Well, you see, if you're a Nintendo Switch player and don't have Discord, you are literally doing that as its native method to talk when you're playing Splatoon or something.
That's true. I want to meet the person, man. I want to meet the person who is doing that, who is actually using like the phone voice app thing.
I think there's only a couple types of people who do that. One are folks who seriously don't know about Discord. As much as we're tuned in, like the general, like I would say 98% of people who play games probably don't. This might be a little bold, but they don't know what Discord is.
I think you're probably in the ballpark at least.
Like your CODs, your Maddens, your FIFAs, your Fortnite, these types of people who only come on for those types of games. Yeah. They're just jumping in chat on and they're going about their business. They don't really think about that. And then the other type of person who would use Switch Online, I think, is the ultra fanboy, the person who is like, they know they're just an idiot, but they're doing it anyway to please Reggie. And they're just using the app because they're like, this is what Nintendo wants me to do.
They're so hardcore in their fandom that they'll do whatever it takes to appease previous executives at the company. Yeah.
Oh my I know Doug Bowser is the guy in town now, but Reggie, he has the memes, he has my heart,
Reggie has the memes, man. And you know what? That's probably why Doug Bowser doesn't even try. Like, how do you follow up that act? The sad part about it though is it seems like Nintendo and Sony, I think, have kind of like they both dropped it at the same time. Because I think that was an interesting time in games when you had all these different personalities, and maybe we had built up some stupid expectations of what these executives actually do with their day-to-day. Like they're probably busy. Like I don't know about you, but like when I talk to executives in organizations, like they are so busy, man.
Yeah.
Like they don't have time to like entertain people and be on Twitter and stuff. Like this is just not, it's not those people.
Yeah, man. But then Xbox did the switcheroo where, Don Matrick to Phil Spencer, and Nintendo had Iwata as the president, but then unfortunately he passed. It's a big Uno reverse on the taking turns now where, with Jim Ryan and I don't even know the name of Nintendo's president now. like of the company. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Furukawa.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at Jim Ryan, and when he tries, and maybe this is exactly my point. Like Jim Ryan, like I'm gonna like look like a gamer. I could do that. What do? You just put this headset on, you hold the controller like this. You look like an idiot, man. It's just like, okay, just go back to your desk, probably that doesn't even have a computer on it because you're as old as dirt. But I'm not really being mean to Jim Ryan. He's probably a fine person. He probably got the best interest in mind.
Right.
PlayStation
all
and
the
the
shit
fans.
about him. Yeah, it's true. We see all the shit about him, but like in the PS3 era, like who turned it around in Europe? This guy. He
In
went,
Europe.
yeah. But when rubber meets the road, and I guess on these, on the corporate, not so fun side of things, for you and me, the consumer, not so fun side of things, when rubber meets the road, he hits a grand slam, and that's why they put him there.
Now they're just busy buying things. Like they're not entertaining us anymore. They're just out like purchasing developers and stuff. It's totally different. And I feel like that might be just when you look back on the generations, like who cares about the games? Forget about the games and like where games as service became a thing and microtransactions and free to play invaded in markets in the last generation. Really what it was we were being entertained by the various executives at these companies, and man, was that a good time. And now we just look at $1 billion acquisitions, and that dominates the conversation, I guess.
Yeah. Bring back Kevin Butler PlayStation commercials,
Please,
with
man.
the fake president.
What did he do? He did something. Didn't the actor do something?
There was I remember. So Sony fired him. I'm almost positive because he made a reference to his position as Kevin Butler on PlayStation in another commercial for another company. And PlayStation was like, no, Kevin Butler as a personality is our property. You can't do this. Screw you.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I'm like,
maybe ill-advised.
It makes sense to call him out for it, but I don't think firing him was a good idea. Like he had a really good and entertaining space in the public eye.
Yeah.
And just eliminating that over that instance just seems like you're cutting too far of a loss here.
Well, and maybe there is some sort of like case study that was built out of that to like not have your entire brand surrounded, even on a made up personality. It wasn't even a real person. It was like this character that they made up, and still that managed to get like screwed up. Because like you really don't see personality at all in games, I don't think. You have maybe sometimes like a developer will flip off Jeff Keighley in the camera in the Oscars, and like that may be as close as we get to it. But even that was a couple of years ago, and I don't know. He's kind of tamed down these days.
Yeah, when Rebecca called him out on Twitter a couple months ago.
Dude,
you see?
Oh my God, that was fantastic. So amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah. I mean, she's just rocketing to the top. Let's be honest. Like it'll be Rebecca and Kato's world in just like about a year.
Hey, I'm all for it.
Me too, man. Yeah, definitely most deserving, man. So what are you playing these days, dude?
Yeah. So what am I playing? So I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima. Yep. I've also been playing. Well, I guess recently. So before Ghost, I got into Halo for the first time. Outside of Infinite, I just started playing the Halo campaigns.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Where'd you start?
So, Combat Evolved, and I finished through Halo 2, and I finished the first Combat Evolved through Halo 2 I completed. I beat Combat Evolved on Heroic. Yeah. That was, for me, that was really tough.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. And then Halo 2 was the amount of difficulty in that game. Holy shit, that was a lot. But outside of that, I just thought, I don't know, I love playing older games and seeing where this stuff comes from. I'm younger than a lot of the community on Discord. I'm in my early 20s, my last year of college here. So I grew up with like, all right, it's a little embarrassing. My childhood gem was probably like Uncharted 2.
Dude, holy crap. It's not embarrassing for you. Trust me, it's way more embarrassing for, those of us using Rogaine and grabbing our canes and walkers and whatnot. It's way worse. That's fascinating because I remember playing that game and being in that era. Like that's probably when I was in college actually. And thinking this is going to be, and these games are going to be somebody's like first games, right? Like where, I don't know, like for me, like, I was born in the mid 80s. So like, I feel like for me, I kind of got everything. Like I've gotten to see everything that I would actually want to see. And then there's a sort of a generation once older than me, like the Chris Johnsons of the world who like got to see like really the Atari and all that other stuff as well. Like I kind of miss out on that. But like my video game journey as a kid like started with NES, and it's like to me that's kind of where modern video games really start. So do you feel like you missed that? Like do you feel
well,
like
it's funny you say that. My first game, ironically enough, my first game console was the Game Boy Advance.
Amazing.
And my first game, I trust, it was so long ago, like when I was 5, but I think my mom she doesn't know video games. She just asked the employee at Best Buy, what the hell do I buy my son for his Game Boy? And I got the NES Classics version of Super Mario Brothers 1. So my first game was actually the original Mario Brothers.
Dude, that's amazing.
And I actually didn't beat it until like a few years ago, but just because like no warp zone, just like actually playing through the game the whole way. But like my first game, that I had a good time with was Mario, Mario 1, and that's where my journey kind of started there. And then I got a DS Lite. I loved my DS Lite. I don't know where the hell it is now, but I love that. So Nintendo brought me in, and I got a Wii, and then I sold the Wii.
How'd you get your Wii? Was it like, and how are you coming across these like birthday presents, or that you buy like? Are you
I'm buying them as a 7-year-old.
I don't know. Exactly.
No, you're good. No, it was like when I say I got my Wii. So I got my Game Boy. I got my DS Lite a few years later when it was kind of in its heyday. But I didn't get my Wii until relatively late in its life cycle, maybe about 2010.
Yeah.
When most other kids got it. My parents are usually older than most. I'm in my early 20s, but my parents are in their earlies and late 60s, believe it or not.
Yeah. It's very similar to me and my parents, actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah. My parents were a little bit older when they had the 4 of us. So, yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'm saying that because like they were kind of lagging with the times a bit in terms of they weren't so eager to get a game console.
Same.
And part of that was not just because, they were never the type that said, screw your game consoles, it just rots your brain. They weren't coming from that front. It's that they weren't so in tune with the tech of the time. I feel like parents who are younger also look at games as a cool new piece of gear or, digital entertainment to have in the house. They still have their CRT until like 2010, 2011 to give you some perspective here. I got my Wii kind of late. Yeah. But yeah, it is. And it was a good TV, I'll tell you, but it isn't for movies and shows. It still wasn't an HD.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like the way they were built. Like those things were bulletproof, man. Like,
right.
You keep those things forever.
Right.
I feel like that it's an interesting kind of commentary and observation on like the age difference between like the kids and the parents and stuff. And I think both you and I were kind of in the same boat on that, like a little bit older compared to the kids. But I also think that it's just kind of the way that, I don't know, parents kind of like, you kind of go through a period of time where you blink and then you go, son of a bitch, that was 15 years. And like, where did that go? And you wait, it's like a time warp and you're like, what is out in the world? You don't pay attention to the same things that you did. And then you kind of go, okay, well, I guess I'll just like cling on to the things that I do know. And the result of that is, you're not going to be super keen to go grab like the latest tech and introduce your kids to it. You're just, you're kind of out of touch is a sad way to kind of put it.
And as a kid too, it's like, there's so many great games that some of which I knew were around me, some I didn't, because, they were like M-rated or maybe T-rated and I was really little. That I didn't get to experience, which were contemporaries at the time, like, the whole Mass Effect craze. I was too little, or the original Dead Space, I was too little to experience those in their heyday. So at least for me, as a huge fan of games, I like to go back and see what did I miss out on with the mind I have now. What games did I miss out on and that I just didn't play. And some of those were Mario Bros. Like I said, I played Mario 3 for the first time a couple of years ago, and Super Mario World. Super Mario World is now my second favorite 2D platformer of all time.
Second favorite?
Yeah, my favorite is Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, I have to say.
Oh God, okay. Well, yeah, it was going so well. Thanks TPR for jumping on the show. Do you want to like tell people where they can find you and stuff, or like? I'm just kidding. Why talk? Tell me more. It's really the adult response I should have instead of being a child about this.
Why Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze?
Why DK?
It was so challenging. it was so challenging but fun for me. I love getting challenging games when I can. I'm kind of a Bloodborne nut. I'm gonna get Elden Ring on release.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're right in the middle of the craziest month, man. Like we're right smack dab in the middle of it as we record this. Just the absolute most crazy. I need to ask though, because it's gonna test my theory a little bit. I can't remember who I was talking to this. I think it was Dan, maybe from Retro Logic. Like, how old were you when you played that game, or when when it hit your life?
Which game?
Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Oh,
do you remember? Like, were you young?
Yeah, like 2-3 years ago. I never had a Wii U. Sorry, I skipped the Wii U. So it was new to me on the Switch. Yeah.
Okay, so it's pretty okay. So this doesn't necessarily reinforce the theory that I think it was Dan. It might have been somebody else who were like, basically the games that you played from between 12 and 14 years old, those have like a disproportionate chance of becoming like your favorite games of all time, or the games at the very least you played maybe even the most, depending on what you go on into life.
Right.
Well, I think it's fascinating discovering what people played at 12 to 14 years old.
Yeah. So Uncharted 2 fits that bill for me in a lot of ways. Like I must have beat the game like at least 4 times. Yeah. Like it was that much. I played all the Uncharted, but Uncharted 2 holds that special place. But my favorite games, like 3 of my 5, not 5, like maybe 3 of some of my favorite games, or 4 of them came out over the last 6 years. Mm-hmm. I want to say. So like I first played it only 2 years ago, but Portal 2.
Yes.
It's tied for my favorite game. And the ending of that game,
you're smart.
That whole game just.
Anytime somebody says that Portal's like one of their favorite games, then they're automatically smarter than me. I can't beat it on my own, man. I gotta like look it up or co-op with my wife, who clearly just like, let's just do this. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even see that over there. Okay, yeah,
you're
smart.
Good. It's whatever. Look, there are some times in games, and this personally frustrates me. A lot of Portal and maybe Outer Wilds are exceptions where I got those through myself. There are some times in games where there are puzzles or a way to progress that I simply don't. I don't know. It just doesn't click with me, and it frustrates me because I feel like I must be really stupid. Like in Wolfenstein: The New Order, there was a part of the game to progress where you just had to crouch and like pick up this thing to jam a device.
Yep.
And I didn't. I spent like 30 minutes. I'm like, what do I do? What the hell am I supposed to do? Until I looked it up, and I'm like, you're kidding me.
I know.
This is what I had to do. And I'm like, I'm gonna jump out my window. What the hell is going on?
Do you ever isn't there like a tips feature in PS5? Like mine apparently is gonna arrive in like 2024.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I'm sorry, man.
No, whatever. I mean, I got other things to. I'm gonna play. Because PlayStation believes in generations. I'm gonna play Horizon on my PS4 Pro, so that'll be fine. But did you ever use this in like a tips feature or like a thing that go like I don't know, like a guide thing in PS5?
I know it exists. I haven't used it yet because I really haven't played enough. Maybe I haven't used it, but I also haven't played enough native PS5 games to really have it fully utilized. In terms of native PS5 games, like there's Astrobots Playroom, which I haven't finished, which is an excellent packing game, and you'll be excited to play. I know you'll love it.
I think I will. Yeah.
There's Miles Morales on the PS5, but there's no like hints I need in that. There's no way of puzzle in that game for me.
Yeah.
But like other than that, like I'm playing the backwards compatible version of Ghost. I didn't get the director's cut because I'm like, I'm not even close to finishing the base game yet, and I'm not paying $30 when I'm not ready to play the DLC. So I'm just holding off there, and it's like I don't have enough native PS5 games to put that in its full capacity.
Got it. PS5 doesn't have any games, is what you're saying. I see. I see what you're saying.
As a back compat PS4 machine and an interim machine until I can get a GPU one day in Fairyland, that's mainly what I use it for. It's like to play the games that I've been wanting to play on my PS4.
Of course.
That I haven't gotten around to yet because like I play games. I keep up with all the latest stuff. I love listening to all your podcasts, PSVG's podcasts. But it's like the games that I listen to you guys talk about that I actually buy, maybe at the time you guys are talking about them, maybe like 1 for every 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I usually buy a lot of these. Yeah.
Let's be real. Like we play like I don't know how many games everybody is actually beating. But on the PC side, do you have like a tower just waiting for a graphics card or something, or are you gonna put some together? What's going on there, man?
I do. I'm in my final year of college. I graduated in December. So
what are you taking? I'm gonna take you off on this side first.
Oh, you're good. I'm double majoring. You're good in geology and materials engineering.
Oh snap! Just like Skinny Matt. Look at that.
Skinny Matt's a material scientist. They're geologists.
I don't know. Yeah, I think so. Geologist. I'm like, oh man,
Okay.
he's gonna kill me now. That's why I bury him alive in Extra Life, is because he likes the ground and rocks so much.
Yeah.
I think they're related. I don't think they're quite exactly the same. Maybe
No.
he studied maybe similar types of things.
So, yeah. Career-wise, I'm tending towards engineering because I don't know. I like applying and making things more than hard science. But
Yeah. So what video game made you smart?
What video game made me smart? You know,
It's always Pokemon, man. It's always Pokemon.
you know, I really think I got to go with Doom. All the puzzles. No, it's really hard to kill all these. But the secrets in Doom 2016, man. Some of those, let me tell you. But no.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Doom 2016 is legit. It has stood up. It has stood the test of time. And I wonder too, because I've played Eternal and went like, I think this is bigger, better sequelitis of Doom. Like it should go down as better. But I'm like, I feel like 2016 has like this weird place in my heart. Like I think that's just the one. I think that's one that will hold up over time.
I understand that, and I feel like a lot of times in game series and things that get direct sequels, I think there's a big bias and reasonably so for like the first game in a new franchise because of that novelty. You know, Doom 2016 rebooted the entire series from nothing and just brought Doom back into the mainstream, and it's you know freaking fantastic. When you look at I don't know what else. Like,
I'm worried about that with God of War.
Oh yeah, God of War. Well, I can't wait. Oh, Sean, I'm so happy you played that game. God of War 2018 is. I got the stupid edition my senior year of high school. Because I had money and no expenses, and college was around the corner. So I'm like, fuck it all. I'm just gonna buy it. And I'm so glad I did. Like that game, Ragnarok is my most anticipated game.
Yeah,
bar none
of 2023.
Whenever
why
people say it's going to release
it's like on an 11 right now, man.
I don't know.
It's all
people
the Sony talk.
Yeah, people say it's going to release this winter. I don't know about that. It's going to come out. It's going to exist, and when it exists, I'm going to be there day one.
I think I'm with you, man. I mean, that game is so special, but again, to me, The Last of Us is right there with it. I think I was talking to Donnie about that yesterday.
Excellent
like
game.
It's just like this to the notion of like the first game is going to hold a special place in people's hearts,
right?
And like whatever the follow up is, like it's just a tall order to follow up on some of these games that are so monumental, and they're just critical in people's gaming histories, man. So I don't know. I think the other one that comes to mind for some reason is like the Tomb Raider reboots, but actually Rise of the Tomb Raider I think is the one that. Of the three, really, like I look at Rise of the Tomb Raider as being my favorites of those three.
Okay.
Yeah. It's an interesting kind of like, I feel like there probably is a bit of a category there of games that, did the sequel live up, or do you still look back to the original?
Yeah, like, some games, I keep thinking of games to nail, like, I don't know, off the top of my head, it's kind of a little tougher than I thought it would be thinking of examples, but maybe... Well,
PlayStation, the last generation, there was like a lot of new IP, really. Like I mean, Horizon, even the new Horizon, I think it seems like it's reviewed. The reviews came out today, and I'm glad I have that in at least one of my fantasy leagues. Scored like 89 on Critic. Like, what's up?
Oh yeah, or like Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2018 as well. When I think of game that I define with the word fun, Spider-Man 2018 just nails it.
Dude, that's crazy. That was 2018, right alongside
God of War, the same year.
The year after Horizon.
I never played Horizon. I need to do that.
Oh my gosh, dude! You're catching up though. Like you've got all these games you're catching up on.
Yeah, it's
you
like
mentioned
I'm always
Dead Space before though. Did you end up getting Dead Space? Did you play that
So I got Dead Space 1 like 6-7 months ago on my PC. So I'm running like a GTX 1060 at 1440p, which is really pushing it. But for older games,
perfect.
It absolutely kills older games.
Yeah, I'm right with you. Mine's a 1070 Ti, so I'm kind of. Everything else is great. And I was talking to Donnie about this yesterday too. I'm like, I just can't. I am finding that it's actually in stock. Like I'm just like that one moment away from making a terrible, terrible $700 decision. Like I don't need it. I have other things that I can play, and I don't necessarily need to play everything at 4K 60.
Right. I just really like it for the legacy stuff, and like I built my PC right before I went to college, other than like RAM and a SATA SSD that I added, because at the time it was the first crypto craze, and 8 gigs of RAM was like $90 a stick. So I upgraded that from 8 to 16 freshman year, but my PC is kind of old, so the way I see it is like in a year's time when I'm working full time and have, full time money, if the GPU market still sucks, I think I'm just going to get a pre-built with my GPU of choice and move my data over. If the prices are going back down, maybe my GPU and maybe my processor, and I'll build it myself there. But I think my PC is due for a major cleaning up over the next year or so. But so I got Dead Space on there. And I love using it for legacy games. Like I said, I played like the first 2 hours and I haven't got back to it, but I want to. From what I played, it was really fun, and it was smooth. 144 frames. All that jazz.
Just got distracted with other things, like just trying to keep up with everything else.
Yeah, I don't know what got me off of it. It was like it might have been Yakuza Kiwami 2.
Sick, nice.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm not a big horror guy. Bloodborne is kind of an exception, but like I'm fine with some horror movies, but like being in the driver's seat of a game with that kind of atmosphere, like I love the atmosphere, but I anxiously dread experiencing it. So,
dude, like if it like is inducing some sort of like panic attack or a sweaty anything, like no, thank you, man. I have to take breaks. The one game, like Dead Space, I feel like I kind of got over the scariness of it. It wasn't quite as like dread filled for me as say something like The Evil Within. Yeah, where I'm like, I just didn't want to take like another step because I didn't know what was going to come around the corner. And I mean, I guess you kind of had a gun, but I just felt like Dead Space, the action still took over for me to feel like I was still in control. Right. But every creature still creeped the crap out of me, man. Holy cow.
Right. And you have that, I forget the name, like, was it stasis? The thing where you can stop them in their tracks, and you have that sense of control. I feel like the games that make you the scariest aren't the ones that include the most disgusting things on screens. It's the ones that make an atmosphere that make you terrified for your life. Yeah. That tension is so much scarier to me than any gore you could put on a screen in front of me.
Oh yeah, and that's the one that sticks with you, I think, after you're done.
I love Alien. Yeah, Alien's my favorite movie.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Yeah, that sounds like an Alien Isolation kind of nod there. So
not Alien Isolation, just I can't play the game if I wanted to. The movie.
Oh, Alien. There you go. Oh, there. Yeah. Dude, that's so funny. That's so amazing that you mentioned that, because literally just today I was talking to a colleague at work, and she's a real big movie buff and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know, like what kind of movies are holding up these days. I haven't really like thought about them in this kind of way. Like if somebody were to watch Alien, I literally was talking about Alien if somebody were to watch that for the first time now, like would they see this as being kind of campy? Like I would look at like Jaws, or even like I don't know, Friday the 13th or something, like some of the original like slasher stuff. Like you look at that and you go like, I could see how somebody might be freaked out by that, but it doesn't really like scare me now. Like I wonder about Alien now in 2022.
Yeah. So like I think I first saw Alien not that long ago, maybe like 4 years ago max.
Yeah.
I loved it, and I also recently saw the John Carpenter's The Thing a couple of years ago. Oh, and that was incredible as well.
Yeah.
Like
I actually think I've seen that one. Yeah.
Oh, you gotta check that one out. Yeah.
That is one that, man, like I am just ancient. All I can think about when I think about that movie is literally either the VHS tape at like a Blockbuster or a mom and pop kind of shop, or the poster itself. And like my brother and I used to wander through like movie stores and flip the tape over and look at the pictures on the back, like screenshots kind of thing. And just like, nope. And The Thing was one of them. I didn't want to have to do anything with that. Candyman was another one. And there was one other too. It was just like, no, dude, like not even a little. But they were just practical effects. And they would have scared 7-year-old me, but I'd probably be laughing at them now.
Well, yeah, I remember Blockbuster too. Like, I don't know, as I get older and older and get more to this digital world, I feel like I was like the very last of the physical media, the generation that was really exposed to physical media in their basic form, almost like the dinosaurs before they went extinct. Like I wasn't here for the last few years of a Blockbuster. I was here in the primitive days of online gaming when Xbox Live just started coming into its prime, and PlayStation and things like that. But digital buying of games and streaming, it wasn't I remember the Netflix discs in the mail, and I thought at one point Netflix was going to go under, and then here they come roaring back with streaming. Now they're the biggest thing in show business and sliced bread.
Totally changed everything. Dude, that is fascinating. And there's like these little like subdivides within like the generations. You got like your millennials, you got your Gen Zs, you got everything else, but there's still like these kind of like these subdivides. And depending on just like what you choose to define it, like that becomes a bit of a segment within a larger grouping. I think I'd never thought of like, let's follow this group of kids who they are the last ones to experience like physical media. Like, I think that's really interesting because there's going to be a clear cutoff of like kids who grew up and it just was not a thing. Like,
right.
Yeah. See, here we thought we were the ones.
Right.
All us late 30s. We were all like, we're the last
Right,
bastion. But yeah, it's not like they just disappeared overnight.
And landlines, when I was little, when we played, called each other on the home phone.
Dude, yeah, you're right there. Look at you.
Who the hell has a landline now? Like maybe your grandparents or your parents. Like,
yeah, my parents got rid of theirs, and that's when I knew everything was changing. My parents got rid of like their phone number. It's like, man, that they've had that phone number for decades, man. If you can hold on to a phone number that long, it's classic. I still remember my neighbor's phone number. Like, cause we would just like every day it was call them up and, just to see if they're ready to do the exact same thing as you did yesterday.
Right.
Basically speed dial. Cause you could just like, you could dial that number so fast.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh, man. I love it. So what else are you playing these days? What do we get totally sidetracked off of that?
Oh yeah. Sorry. So it's these days, like I said, I finished up the first couple of Halos.
Oh yeah. Halo. Nice.
I really, Halo Combat Evolved, it has showed its age a bit, but I like the charm of how dry Chief is and the dynamic with Cortana. I thought everyone kept telling me about the library, and I guess I don't know. I still don't like, this is kind of a hot take. I think relative to others is, even if the game's like 30 years old, I still don't like spoiling it if I don't absolutely
I don't think that's the hot take. I would say the hot take is you're allowed to spoil something like...
Okay.
Like
after you accidentally spoiled The Last of Us on Sweet Hangs yesterday.
Dude, I felt terrible. I don't know. I tried to like justify it in my mind to try and forget about it because you just brought up, I'm like, son of a bitch, I totally did that.
I played the game, so I wasn't offended, but I'm like, it's all right,
gosh, Sean. That was not a good one, right? That was pretty bad.
But yeah. Everyone kept telling me about the library. Like, the library in Halo Combat Evolved, and I'm like, I didn't know why they were telling me about it, but after playing it, I'm like, now I know why. I hate the library. I want to hit it with the damn like fly swatter, but I love 343 Guilty Spark. I think that was the mission.
Yeah.
Like where you're around the jungle and like that was so atmospheric for me. The game might have been 20 years old.
Yeah.
Then I played Combat and I played Halo 2 and dude, playing all right. I feel like this is almost a non-spoiler because it's introduced to you so early on.
See, now you've drawn a line. You got to be careful.
I don't know. All right. I'll just say...
I'm sitting here spoiling it. When was The Last of Us 2 out? Not 2019? When the heck was that?
2020?
Was it 2020? Yeah, I guess
summer
so.
2020. I think Ghost came out like 2 months before. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because it would have been, just before the new systems came out.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah.
But playing as the Arbiter, sorry, guys. In Halo 2... How cool was that? Like, I didn't know any of this plot beforehand or anything having related to Halo, and I'm like, this is really cool. And
I thought it was amazing. Dude, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
But I remember people being mad about it, and I can't remember what I was talking about this a couple weeks. People, well, just because, remember, like, you have to remember, too, and if you think about, I don't know how much you followed, like, Halo 5, where you weren't playing as Master Chief quite a lot. It was like, where the heck is... People were very, very upset with that, and it's like, dude, they already did this. They did it with Arbiter in 2, and there was a series of games that kind of pulled a little bit of a switcheroo on you, and Metal Gear Solid 2 is a good example of that, where it's like, well, where the heck is Snake? Who's this, like, Raiden guy? Like, what the heck are you guys doing to me? So I'm glad you see, I'm not even trying to make a case for you should be mad if you're not playing as the main character. I wish that more games had the balls to do this. But unfortunately, like, the internet kind of gets a little pissy about these things sometimes.
Yeah, man. I haven't played a lot of you brought up Halo 5. I wasn't there for. Sorry, guys. I guess I'm an Xbox hater, fake fan. That I really wasn't around for a lot of these Xbox exclusives. I have no Gears experience. I have no.
It doesn't have any games, so don't worry about it. It didn't have any games in Xbox One. That's what I heard.
Xbox One, yeah, but like, I think if a game can do it well, like, I heard a lot of the outrage in Halo 5 not playing as Chief, but But I think it's different in Halo 2, and I'm going to make the comparison here to The Last of Us 1 a bit. When you oh wait, now am I going to spoil Last of Us?
Oh snap!
All right, maybe I should just
see
shut
look
up.
how easy it is. Look, it's pretty. It's not as easy as it looks, man.
You play as a certain notable character in The Last of Us 1 that I think fits the game very well.
That this I feel like the statute of limitation. What is it? What is the rule of that? It's like you are allowed to talk. I would say, and we can do a bit of a like fast forward like 30 seconds or whatever if you don't want to know what happens in The Last of Us 1, which came out in like 2007 or whatever.
2013 it came out. I remember the day it came to my front door.
Oh
the mail didn't come to our house, and I was so mad because I needed to play The Last of Us on release after I got it behind my parents' back, and they didn't. I'm
realizing PS3 came out in 2007.
2005, I think. I think 2005 with the fat PS3.
Not a chance. 2006 maybe.
I think it's 05.
We'll look it up. We'll look it up. Well, how about? Oh man, Ryan. I was going to say producer Ryan can jump in here. He doesn't produce this show. He doesn't do this one. I do everything, and I'm not going back into it. Somewhere in there, but in any case, I was way off. 2013. See, we just bought people enough time to like pull over and not get spoiled for The Last of Us. But here we go. Let's spoil the shit out of The Last of Us.
I don't know. I love the dynamic between Chief and the Arbiter, and let's finish the fight. Halo 3, and I played the first mission of that, and what a glow up graphically, control wise.
Oh, yeah.
How much better does it feel to play Halo 3? Because for me, it felt like I didn't know how slow I was moving in Halo 1 and 2 until I started playing Halo 3.
Yeah, man.
Holy crap.
Well, and especially now in Master Chief Collection, you can literally go from like if you're playing multiplayer, you can go from like one game to the next, just like that. Oh yeah, and it's a huge difference. Yeah, very, very smooth, and on PC, very nice experience. But they never did an anniversary edition for Halo 3. And I feel like just because they missed, because I think it was a 10-year anniversary they did for CE, and then for Halo 2,
I think so, yeah.
They did a 10-year anniversary thing. And those treatments are unbelievable. Like they are amongst the standard for remasters, just in the way that I think the cinematics are just like, I feel like they actually look better. The cinematics from like Halo 2, I think look better than Infinite, to be honest with you. I think really? I'd rather that style. Because Infinite is like, I don't know, it's like almost in-game or in-engine. If it's not actually in engine, I like the stylistic, and even the TV show. I would rather just I think the studio was called Blur that did the cinematics for the anniversary editions. I think they're called Blur. Do that. Give me a weekly show or whatever, a streaming thing with that. I think that would be way better.
Yeah, in Halo CE and Halo 2, I intentionally played with the classic graphics just to.
Oh wow.
I don't know. I wanted the original experience. Like I played Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 for the first time a couple years ago. I didn't bump up the graphics in Half-Life 1. I didn't get Black Mesa, and I like Half-Life 1 more than Half-Life 2.
I think I'm with you on that. Actually, I think I'm with you.
I feel like I'm in a unique position where when you hear a lot of how much people praise Half-Life 2, from the outside looking in, it seems like, and after having played it, I think so much of the praise comes from how much of a technical jump the Source engine was. How much of a graphical jump. Look at this physics engine. That would be the base for all these games that will come after. As a quality game, I think Half-Life 1 is paced so much better, in my opinion. And in Half-Life 2 in the second half, there was some really... It was around when you got into like the city, and it was kind of like a big battlefield, like a World War type atmosphere. It really slogged for me. Yeah. But and fun fact, apparently, Titanfall 2 runs on a modified Source engine.
Yes, it does.
I didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
Until a year
that is
ago.
So cool. Imagine some sort of like weird Half-Life Titanfall kind of crossover. It would absolutely never happen. But give
me more
that
Titanfall.
To me. We'll write the fan fiction on that. Well, that's one of your examples too about earlier. Like did the sequel, where do you hold the first two in your heart? Is it Half-Life or Half-Life 2? For me, it was, I didn't come to Half-Life 2 until years later after it came out, actually. And I think it's just a matter of like, at what point did I hit high school and college, and versus when Half-Life, the original, came out, it was like, I think 1997 or 1998. And that's my like 12 to 14 years old time. Like that's when like, holy crap, I'm playing still, like I would argue like some of the best games ever made. It was like Ocarina of Time was in there, Half-Life, Unreal. There's a whole bunch of others in that time zone. And I'm glad to hear that you played Half-Life, man. Like you're a real like student of gaming, man.
Thanks. Really, I love learning about it. I love seeing the evolution of games. That's one of the reasons I played Halo in its classical engine. And I played the series in its release order, not like the chronological story order. Like I didn't play Reach before CE, even though Reach is supposed to be a prequel, right? I like seeing the progression through of the tech through real time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that makes sense. Did you get to Reach, or did you stop at 3, or where?
No, so I've only played the first mission of 3. I need to get back to it.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna.
Have you done any
beat
co-op at all? Have you played with anybody?
No, but I want to. I think co-oping campaigns would be a really fun time.
Then you can see what everybody was bent out of shape about when Infinite didn't launch with co-op, and it's like some people like never played with co-op anyway, so like who cares? And
I was one of those guys, but I'm like I don't have. I was kind of like I really don't have any space to talk. I have no investment in Halo or what co-op and Forge really means to the series. You know.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy, so it's not my place to get mad or get happy here.
Well, I love that you have, we've talked about Halo and a bunch of PlayStation stuff and your number one platformer. I can't believe it's Donkey Kong, but like you're kind of all over the place. Like, where do you have like a center core of like your gaming or your nerdism? Like, is there something that you kind of come back to?
It's weird, I go in phases, between my platforms a lot. Like there are just maybe a couple months where I'm spending a lot of time on my PC, and then I'm spending a lot of time on some PlayStation stuff.
Yeah.
And then I come back to my Switch. Like when Kirby comes out, man.
Heck yeah.
Kirby in the Forgotten Land.
Oh my gosh, game of the year. Right after Triangle Strategy, of course.
You have fun with that.
This could be You're not in on Triangle Strategy?
I don't know.
Surprises me a little bit.
No. One of the most painful things for me as a gamer has been I haven't been able to get into turn-based JRPGs.
Ooh,
I just haven't. Like I've tried. I tried Persona 5.
Yeah.
I tried Final Fantasy 7, the original.
Oh, you gotta do 4. Do Persona 4.
Persona 4. Okay.
Yeah,
well, it's on PC now.
Get your hands on a Vita. Go get a Vita.
Vita.
Or you
no,
can play it on
Steam.
PC. Yeah, get it on
Steam,
PC.
yeah.
That's right. My old man brain will catch up here eventually. I come to realize what the heck you can do that on. Yeah, get it on Steam, man. Get that music going. Oh my gosh. I like personally, and this might be another example of this. Of course, there's previous Personas, but for me, it's like 4 was it. 5 couldn't match it. Like maybe there's an objective reason that, as if that exists. Maybe there's a reason that it's a better game. I'm like, no. Like it's about Risei and Chie for me. It's Persona 4 Golden, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I bought SMT5, and I think I even posted in the Discord about it, and then I canceled the order.
Yeah, no.
Because like
I don't think that's the one.
I buy. I can't. It's a little embarrassing to say the amount of games that I clicked the purchase button on over FOMO or hype that when I maybe like an hour or a few hours or a day removed from the purchase, and I'm like, do I really want this game? Especially when I look at these the turn-based JRPGs that time and again haven't caught me, and I'm like, no, I don't, and I cancel it. So I've canceled quite a number of hype JRPG orders based on that. But I do have, but I do like action RPGs. I have Xenoblade Definitive Edition in my drawer, kind of really rearing to go at some point soon.
Get on it, man. That was one of my favorite games that I played a couple years ago. What about Fire Emblem? You played Fire Emblem?
Right. So I tried. I tried Three Houses. I liked the tactical. I like the combat, but I don't like the social stuff. I don't like spending. I don't know. I feel like I don't like the time commitment on a lot of turn-based JRPGs.
Yeah, don't do Persona.
That includes the tactical games, but like action RPGs, I've almost 100 hours in Bloodborne, and it's like I'm not stopping anytime soon.
Yeah. I feel like Three Houses is an example of one where it's like they kind of went, I don't want to say too far because people would be mad, and I don't necessarily think that, but it definitely went beyond where Fire Emblem was before. Like you didn't really have all that, let's go on a tea date and let's go like hang out and go fishing or whatever. It was still story based, but you got to the grid based kind of action much faster.
But I love learning about RPGs and the history behind them. Like RPG Cave, like it's so fun listening and just learning about them. I know I'm not going to play 99.8% of the things that Ryan and Garrett talk about. I just love learning them as a student of gaming.
Man.
Like maybe I'll get into Advance Wars down the line. It has all the tactical stuff without any of the stripping away all the social stuff that I don't care about.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's why I was asking about like what game made you smart. I don't know if you ever really answered other than joking about Doom, but like where does Pokemon come in for you?
Yeah, I don't. Pokemon. Me and Pokemon have a troubled history.
Yeah,
including me rebuying Shield a month ago for some reason, and I still don't like it, and I haven't gone to the first gym again.
Why did you rebuy it then? You already made up your mind.
I don't know. I was like, I want to see. Maybe I was kind of in denial. Like maybe I just didn't give it the right go because I haven't played Pokemon
man.
in all these years.
That's a whole category of games. Like that's a Google Doc in and of itself. Like games that I think maybe I just was not playing them right, or like I missed something, or maybe I did something wrong. Maybe it's not you, it's me.
Yeah. And but I didn't like it, and let's just say in a few days when I'm going down to Best Buy to trade it in towards my Elden Ring pre-order. But
yeah.
I might try Arceus like in 2 years or something. But me and Pokemon are kind of But in terms of games that made me smart,
we're on a break.
We're gonna break.
Reference, yeah. That's a 90s reference. My apologies.
Okay. No, you're good. I haven't seen a lot of 90s stuff. I do like a lot of movies though. 90s movies.
Yeah. Elden Ring, is there a world that you think that game does not well? Like, is that a guarantee? Like in fantasy stuff, it's like it was first round. I'm in 3 fantasy critics, and that thing was like first or third pick. Like it didn't go beyond like the 4th pick, I don't think.
I don't think the game doesn't do well. And the reason I say that now is because I don't know if you know, there's already been a closed network test of the game where streamers and other influencers have simply gotten the game and its reverence of a few areas that they're just free to explore in. And, even though it's only a few areas, there's a lot about an action RPG that you can make some pretty good judgments on if you have maybe 20 hours worth of game to explore. How do the systems work? Does gameplay work? How does this all go? So if that didn't exist and the feedback wasn't overwhelmingly positive, I'd say maybe not. But at this point, I feel like it's almost a lock that it does extremely well. But then Cyberpunk exists, so
I was just gonna say,
maybe I'm a sham.
How many of those people who are playing it, like, have you seen their chairs? Are they playing on
the yellow chairs? I remember that.
Chairs? That's so stupid. It's so I hate that so much. And it's interesting that you bring up Cyberpunk as well. Like we, by the time this releases, people will know the fate of Cyberpunk. At least its new era. Maybe this is actually a thing. Well, apparently, like Cor Lalonde was posting pictures. It's like it shows
I saw that,
an XS, like an upgrade. And I think Jez Corden was talking about it as well. It looks like that thing has been the next generation releases there. So yeah, like what if that is the case? Like, what are your thoughts on Cyberpunk? And if they've actually made it right, does that make it right by you?
Well, I guess I should back up by saying I was very interested in Cyberpunk. I still am. Like, it seems like very much my kind of game. One of the reasons I like to hone in on, like I said, I got a PS3 and then a PS4 is, I love these 10 to 15, 20-hour adventures where you're guiding me along and I'm having this fantastic, bombastic experience.
Yeah.
And it's like Cyberpunk isn't quite that confined, but by everyone who beat the game without it crashing their computer and sending it into flames, that it was about like 15, 20 hours on a single playthrough. And it's a fun first person, Cyberpunk, Blade Runner. I love Blade Runner, both movies type style. And I'm like, this is a very me type of game. But, hearing about the performance, I held off. So if it does well, is the game right by me? Well, I guess I have to play it and see if I like it first. But I guess on a trust level here, on a consumer level, by the developers, maybe, but it's really, even if the game ends up improving, that is simply inexcusable behavior. No Man's Sky got so much better after all these years. I was there at No Man's Sky's launch, and after No Man's Sky, I stopped pre-ordering almost all games except for a very select few, and that was it. Yeah. But they came back after that many years, but you really can't have a game be out of early access after you pay full price 2 years thereafter its day and date release. It's unacceptable. So I guess, will it do right by me? In its current state, maybe, but in the way it was handled, that will never be.
Yeah,
you can't fix some mistakes. You just can't fix, and you have to move on and try to create a new slate for yourself.
Well, and I appreciate the well thought out response to that, because even as I was asking, I'm like, this is kind of an impossible question. I'm glad you brought up No Man's Sky, because that is what that is celebrated as. This is how you resurrect just an absolutely disastrous launch. And it's like the fact that we are celebrating that model and that what ended up happening there, I think in some sort of like weird, backwards, stupid way, makes it okay for others to try it as well. And it's like, that's not the message. Nope. That's not the takeaway. Nope. Like, we would rather that have been like great from the start. Like, let's just be clear about that.
It's a great redemption arc, but you give me the game that you set out to in a completely functional and playable form on day one. You know, maybe this is a hot take, but Crossfire,
right?
Man,
it's laughable. It's laughable, and it's right there. And it's like, this is a category of games that like launch in a state, you know. And I feel like Battlefield was so doomed from the start that it's not even like nobody expected anything out of it anyways. So it can't even get bad press. It doesn't get any press at all. It can't even get bad press, for God's sakes.
You know, yeah, it's kind of crazy. But then you see stuff like Dying Light 2, which is, I feel, a really interesting, what I would call intermediate case.
Right.
Where people were given on day one. You know, I hear Donnie talk about it countless times now. You know, on his tombstone, it's probably going to be Dying Light's my favorite game. But you know, he's like, he loves it, and I hear a lot of people, they really like the game, and in many respects, they like it more already gameplay wise than Dying Light 1. But it has a ton of problems. Techland is going after them aggressively. Or not after the consumers, the problems aggressively.
The problems.
And, you know, fixing them.
Gamers.
But it's like, I think Donnie said, like, he thinks it should have been delayed. And I talked to someone today. They sent me, like, 2 paragraphs of everything they have wrong with Dying Light 2. And then in their last paragraph, that was a few sentences, they say, oh, it's also better than Dying Light 1 in gameplay by far. I'm like, what? It's like, there's so much work to do, but there's so much good here. I feel like that's an in-between that I still think is not acceptable. I still think something like that isn't acceptable to the consumer. That's something like Dying Light 2 right now should be an opt-in early access event for the consumer, and maybe make it a mass public release 1 or 2 months in the future.
What do you think? I don't disagree with that, but I wonder if like the console market is really tapped into the notion of early access in the way of like on Steam, like this has existed on Steam for like probably decades at this point. Certainly like about 10 years or so. And people get it. You buy into the thing and you're like, you are actually helping create the thing. And that's a very PC gamer, I think, mindset. Whereas I think with consoles, I still don't think, even if you have it in big, gigantic letters, early access, like, let's tell you what this is, people will still have expectations that it resembles the final product. And I think that will, number one, it's a mismatch of like the product and the audience. And then number two is that ultimately will subvert the actual launch. That they'll never actually be able to shake off the narrative and this perception that this game is broken. It's like, well, that shouldn't be part of the perception. It's like it's early access. Like, go away, you dummies.
It also depends on the game, because most early access games are smaller projects. But a game like Dying Light 2, you know, when we were talking about the mass media player, like your Maddens, FIFAs of the world, if they see a new Madden or FIFA on the store, they're buying, they're downloading, and they're playing it for the next 12 months. You know, Dying Light 2, I didn't think it would have that kind of reach. But when you look at the player counts, it's insane. Yeah. It is almost at that level, which absolutely shocked me.
So weird. They keep making zombie games. Like, who knew? Still pretty popular, man.
It is. Yeah, but the early access stuff, I think it works a lot better with almost all the time smaller projects.
Right.
But
because they can still fly under the radar. I guess that's a good point.
Right.
If it's this marquee title, then you try to do like early access, then too many people play it instead of something kind of growing with the community. Yeah, that seems obvious.
But I feel like you can have these big marquee games that have the low key early access. Like let's say Dying Light 2 right now had an early access that you could only access the early access by, you know, if you opted into a special program by Techland and you put your email to these special pages where you as the dedicated fan had to put in all this effort to get into the early access, not listed on the store, but it's sent to you by your promotional emails.
You're kind of biased in a way, is kind of what it's kind of self-selecting.
Well, yeah, but I feel like that's advantageous for the developer, because if you get really dedicated people in early access, you know, maybe QA unfortunately gets thrown out the window, because think about all these many people that can tell you all the things that are wrong with your game and to polish these things. Yeah. So you can use the fanboy dedicated gamer to your advantage and getting some real polish to these huge projects.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah, for sure. Like when I say like when you're biased, like that's not always a negative thing. It's just a fact. It's just an objective, like which way are you leaning, which I think is interesting. But I think the other side of it too, though, is there are examples of like closed beta things that I don't know. I don't know how those work. I'd really like to get behind the scenes and understand like what is the best case scenario for a developer to start to learn about their thing. Because there was definitely like a closed alpha for Halo. So that was a pretty good example. And then it launched into open beta, right? Like that's just a class. I mean, it's an instant classic example of this sort of thing.
Yeah,
but
but
me personally, like Dying Light it's funny because like we can talk, I think, all day and night about principally like how does this affect me, what it did, like what the actual result, if I just completely separate my thoughts and logic from it, was like I didn't buy it. And I have to be honest with you, like what impacted my decision to jump in or not, which I ultimately decided to not, was like I saw the patch stuff. I saw this game wasn't out and ready, and it's like, well, I think that coupled with games like this tend to become a little bit less expensive over time and not a lot of time. I'll just wait.
Right, yeah. And, when on a lot of these games, when you hear Donnie's having such a great time with it on his PC, make no mistake, Donnie is now playing Dying Light on a $3,000 to $4,000 US machine, and it's running great. I think it was also running very well on his laptop at 1080p with a 3060.
Yeah.
But and I say that because that's a top of the line his accessibility to the game is top of the line. That's not your Series X, your Series S, your Xbox One X, your PS5 or your PS4 players. That's not and when the experience finally being good at launch, good is locked to that high echelon of players, to the extreme is kind of what happened with Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I feel like that still ain't it. So
yeah, Cyberpunk is an interesting. I think Cyberpunk just across the various platforms and just the way that it was clearly built for PC and then kind of like right click save as. Are you sure you want to do this? Do you want to change the extension on this file name because it could become unstable? Is kind of what we got there. I think it's a little bit different. And it is. Sometimes brute force doesn't really save you, sadly. TPR, how many? First of all, what is TPR? What are is that your actual initials?
Should
I even ask that? Damn it!
That is my initials.
Okay, that's as much as I will try to dig into that. TPR, how many fantasy critic leagues are you in?
0.
You're in 0. What? I thought I was in one with you. What the heck? Really?
Oh, I think I said I might have joined. I think I said in the past I was going to be joining PSVGs when they still had their Patreon up, and they said that was going to be a perk. But no, I haven't.
Oh man, I was just loading it up and trying to like walk through some of this stuff because it's starting to heat up in some of these areas. But I will not do that if you're not even in any of these dang leagues. I thought you were in the PSVG one for some reason.
No, you're good. But I heard I heard your draft with Joe over at Console War Room.
Oh, dude. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we definitely did something with the trophy room, man.
How's
That's
your
an interesting one.
Yeah. How's that feud going? Who's winning in February so far?
Again, it's heating up, man. Because as it's just funny how any predictions, eventually the prediction becomes realized as either being true or in most cases just absolutely insane and ridiculous and totally wrong. And Fantasy Critic, I think, is just a hyper-realized example of this. Like, you are locking in your choices at the beginning of the year, saying, I think this game is going to do well. And then you just kind of like let it sit, and it's this time capsule that you have to come back to later and go, the hell was I thinking? Or what the heck was that person thinking?
Yeah.
They're out of their mind, man.
Look at the GTA remasters. Think about how many people thought they were going to be so locked in. Like, this is easy, 85, 87, and then it's just a complete dumpster fire.
Anybody who got it is like, I can't believe you snagged that one. Like, oh my gosh, that is, and that's it. Like, somewhere in the list of games that we've chosen, there's one of those examples. There's a GTA remaster. It's
and
like,
you don't know
what
it's
going to be. Exactly.
That's the scary part. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like Minesweeper up in here. Like, we have. It's so funny because it was the trophy room and Xbox Drive, and the trophy room ended up picking up all the Xbox games. Like, their second pick was Starfield, and I actually think they picked Forza Motorsport, which is great because that game ain't coming out this year. So it shows what those.
That's another thing. You have to bet on certain games coming out this year. So when you do your drafts, can you bet on a game that hasn't been announced yet?
Yep. Yeah, I have it. I actually I snagged. I mean, this is about as safe as it gets, but Call of Duty unannounced Call of Duty game 2022 is basically what it says, and there's examples of all this stuff like all over the place. Like rumored Resident Evil remake is one of the things that you could choose, and if you land it, then you're a genius. But if you miss it because like it hasn't been announced, yeah, it could be real bad for you. So we have Elden Ring and we have Gran Turismo 7, which I'm feeling pretty positive about. Yeah.
Dude,
right?
Speaking of, Gran Turismo 7 is a great example of that, the mass market appeal. No one in these inner gaming enthusiast circles, people don't know how big Gran Turismo is for PlayStation. Yeah, it is sales wise. Like their I think like their biggest first party franchise in terms of units sold. Like Gran Turismo flies off the shelves, and that's something like that's I think a lock for a fantasy league.
I mean, it just falls right into all the other sports games that nobody realizes that these things like outsell their precious whatever the heck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I hate when people say like, I'm a huge basketball fan, I should say, and I used to play NBA 2K. You know, as like, I don't know, as artsy as I might come off, like I was a hard NBA 2K guy, and after like 3 years of them burning me, I'm like, you know, screw you 2K, I'm done with this for now.
How do they burn you?
Just year after year, the microtransactions, the pay to win style on their online modes just really hit me in the gut, and I'm like, this isn't it. This ain't it. And I left. But I say that because a lot of these sports games, people write off a lot of sports games as, especially like, you know, at the Game Awards and stuff like that, and that, who would play those? Who would play those? The majority of the consumers who are buying these consoles are playing those. There's a huge amount of the market that you're simply not representing if you don't give sports games real credence, and you don't have real sports enthusiasts looking at these sports games for what they are. And I feel like it's honestly an insult when a lot of gaming journalists take a look down on these games, and I'm like, they're games that people play for a long time, and they're really popular. You know, I enjoy it.
Super popular, and they kind of bankroll a lot of these publishers. It's like EA Sports, kind of a thing, like pretty 2K. Significant to or 2K of course. Like, man, I'm glad 2K kind of finally. I think they've really solidified themselves as not even just a competitor, like, you know, a leader in a lot of ways in the sports games. Because there was a time there was like they were just going to be like pushed out by monopolies and deals and everything, and they didn't even have a chance to make some of these games. And slowly but surely, it's like we got a good golf game. We certainly have a great basketball game. Like, they actually matter, but like there used to be a great football game from 2K as well. Like that was actually pretty decent.
They used to do 2K baseball, and then the show hit them out of the water, only for the show to come out on Game Pass several years later.
Yeah, give it to me. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, it's funny, just the number of, like I said, every day we learn something new about certain games, and it dawned on me that Kyle and Joe locked in Kirby and the Forgotten Land as a counter pick.
Ooh.
Like, they just went on Kirby, which like maybe like you could argue some Kirby games are kind of 7s, or like, I don't know, man. I think that's gonna be like a 90.
I think this Kirby is going to be the best Kirby game since Planet Robobot.
I mean, you could probably even go further back than that. Like, I think this could be one of the best Kirby games of all time.
Oh, you know, like I say that Planet Robobot, in my opinion, might be the best Kirby game of all time.
Oh, snap! Okay. I
think it has potential to eclipse it. I'm a big Kirby guy. I can't wait to do Kirby Car and run over all these bandanities or stuff
Donnie
like
just
that.
Started smiling. He doesn't even know why. He's just like, ooh, good feeling. Doesn't even know that we're just talking about this right now, man. Holy cow. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to, like, what was on your mind when you kind of came into this? So, like, let's record We the GamerCast. Like, what's on your mind?
I don't know. I was just so excited. Like, I truly love Yumi Capri and PSVG in this.
Thanks, man.
And Trophy Room. Yeah, like this, like I think I mentioned once before, this podcast cinematic universe we have
That's right. Yeah, we got to do something with this. That's right.
Yeah. But, so I was... some context, you know, when the pandemic started, I was looking around some podcast discords, and I joined one. It was an Xbox podcast discord. The Muffin Mon, ironically enough, was in that too, and I didn't see him again on Discord until he joined Yumi Capri.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, but I left that, and it was pretty bad. You wouldn't hear from listening to the podcast, but the Discord community, there was a lot of anti-mask, anti-COVID vaccine.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
A lot of sexism and
awesome. Yep. That's what you were there for.
And I'm like, I'm gonna leave. And I felt kind of not tainted, but I felt icky, and I'm like, I want to see if I can find someplace else to kind of hone in on it. And then I found Trophy Room, and no, Trophy Room. What a fantastic community, and pair of guys, Kyle and Joe, are over there.
Yeah,
and then Donnie was on that Discord, and then I found PSVG in mid 2021, and I'm like, damn, this is also insane. And then a couple months ago I found Yumi Capri, Sweet Hangs. I'm probably the #1 Sweet Hangs fan.
Yeah, we're back, man.
Yeah, it's great. And then I found you guys, and I just love. I love the passion y'all put on your podcast and the
man.
community, and I just wanted to be as much of a part of that as I could. So being on here was kind of like, all day I was so excited for this.
Oh, that's the sweetest, man. Thanks, Me too. I do feel like you're right a part of that like extended universe, this cinematic universe, because like you appear on all the shows, like you're whether you're like your voice is there or not, like your voice is there in a way, like, and I think that's phenomenal. And I feel like I just blinked and then an hour went by and I gotta have you back on. Like, I think that you could just you could talk about anything. I feel like you could take my job about this, man. You could talk to anybody about anything. Just like, okay, tell me about games. You're like, all right, I'm a student of games. Like that's a great place to be in, where you're just keeping an open mind about stuff and like interested in what other people are geeking out about. I think like that's what it's all about, dude.
Thanks. Yeah.
There's like this weird, I don't know. It's not even a revolution. It's not new. It's just like this notion of like indie content and the little micro communities that surround it. It's like, I feel like there's something special there, because I feel like everybody, like, if you want to be seen, you can be seen. You can be seen and heard and participate.
Yeah,
and you're not just like one of a gazillion people. It's like, oh, I know who you are. Like, I know TPR. Right. Like, I'm waiting for his question to come on in.
Like selfishly, when I ask a question, I'm like, if I ask a question and there's a react from you or Ryan, and I'm like, ooh, okay, they have it on their slate. And then when I go to listen to the podcast, selfishly, of course, in the back of my mind, it's like, when are they gonna read my question? When am I gonna be acknowledged after the show goes by? But that's part of the fun, and I feel like that's fine. That's fine to acknowledge that. Sometimes it's just fun to let people hear people acknowledge that you exist and your questions or concerns are being heard directly, and it's really, I can't think of a better way of community engagement other than being alive on a phone call or something like this.
Well, then we check that box off over here, which is funny because this is where it all started. Like, that is the funniest thing, is that you would think that this would be added on to address that, but it was reverse. This was the first thing that I ever did, and it led me to
awesome
meeting Ryan and meeting like Bobby back in the day.
Oh, wow,
you
met Ryan and Bobby through here. Wow.
Oh yeah, like this Bobby was my 4th or 5th guest. Like, that's where, like, it really just kind of like catapulted from there. There was another guy I met shortly after that. His name was Dave Moore, and he was the one, him and I created the Xbox Drive back in whatever the heck year that was. It all comes from this, like, strangers from the internet, and just like, who are you? It's like, oh, and did we just become best friends? Yeah, we did. So you're never getting rid of me. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'll be sliding into those DMs all the time.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try to, as hard as I can this fall, to make it out in person to Extra Life in New York.
I was just talking to my wife about it, and it's just like, I just need to know one way or another. This like wishy-washy, I just don't know. Like, I don't want to upset anybody, but it's like, can we just go? I just want to go. Like, I'll take another 5 shots if I have to. Like, whatever it takes, man. Just like give me like an inhaler or something. I don't know. I just want to be there, and I want to have like the runway to let everybody else know that this is the plan. I think that's what was really tricky about 2021 was, I don't know. Yeah, we're a go. And we had about a month where like everything was great. And then, things kind of closed up again. It's hard to gather people from across the country when that sort of situation.
Yeah, man.
So cool, man. Well, do you want to let anybody know, to my point about 50 minutes ago, do you want to let people know where they can find you on the internet and get a hold of you, man?
Just, I'm not really on social media much. I have like a dormant Twitter. So I guess just Discord. You can find me at TPR. That's TPR, just the letters. And
nice.
So, yeah.
It's like the one handle that requires almost no explanation. It's like, let's like TPR, like the 19th letter of the alphabet.
Yeah.
And then
toilet paper roll. That's me right here.
Come on. Is that a thing? You've definitely thought of that before.
It's not a thing. A lot of people have been like, that's where your name comes from, right? And I'm like, no. And I've told like maybe 3 people when they've actually DM'd me and asked, where does your name actually come from? And I know them, they're not weirdos. I said, it's just my initials, guys.
Toilet paper roll.
You're like, oh, screw you. Just your initials. You're uninteresting. I hate you. And then.
Well, mine's my actual full name, and I don't know if that was such a good idea, but it's better than my PSN name.
You have a lot of good Capri puns. Wait, what's your PSN name?
Now it's Sean Capri, and that's as far as we're going to talk about that.
All right.
Some people know, and if you know, then good for you. We've known each other for a long time. There's an episode of Podcast Beyond that you can go back in the archives and discover at some point. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a whole other story. TPR, thanks for just being an amazing member of the community coming on here, man. You're coming back on soon enough, man. I promise you that.
Thanks, man. Sure.
There's more to talk about. And even if it's not even like this show, I'm like, how the heck can we get you on other stuff? We'll figure something out. Be happy to. Okay, cool, man. Wholesome goodness. That's what that was. Hopefully you guys haven't been completely blown back into the wall that you're standing next to because of the wholesomeness. I think that's a side effect of, or an impact of wholesome. Just an absolute physical impact. Just ferocious. Ferocious wholesomeness. Thank you, TPR. Thank you guys for listening. I think that was a good one. I think that, who am I to say? Hopefully you guys think it was a good one as well. I want to close things off. First of all, follow TPR. All the links are in the show notes. Follow the show. Follow me. Twitter, Twitch. It really helps. Leave a review. I haven't read a review in a long time, so it'd be great if your review was the next one that I read at the start of the show. That'd be great. I haven't really talked about that in a little while. I want to close things out because in the last couple of weeks I've been kind of just rambling, and I want to let you guys know it's going to be okay. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're struggling with, is going to be okay. This too shall pass. I promise you. Think back, there's been other times where you've gotten over things, you've gotten over hurdles, you've gotten over hills and mountains even, and it's gotten you to this point. And that's just the way it goes, man. Unfortunately or fortunately, whichever side you're on, it's gonna get better. I believe in you. You're here. You got to say it's morning, or it's maybe you woke up in the afternoon, in which case, good for you. You got to sleep in, man. It's all good. On the Pants Patreon podcast for Patrons podcast, by the way, it's for patrons of $3 plus. It's one of the exclusive tiers. I walk through 3 things that I'm grateful for, and I promise you guys, it has been so helpful for me in good times and in bad. In good times, it's like, okay, well, let's take stock in the things that are good. But even in the bad times, it's like, well, I got pants on. That's pretty good. I actually got out of bed. That's also pretty good. I got coffee right now. That's pretty decent. It's not very hot. it's like medium. It is below room temperature. And here's maybe something of the copyright on the McDonald's cup at the bottom says 2019. That's a little bit weird. But anyways, I'm off track. You're gonna be great. It's okay for today not to be the best day, and it's okay for yesterday to be not the best day. It's okay for a week and a month or even a year to suck at a time. It's not the end of the world. You got this. Reach out, find something that you like, and you're gonna be all right, man. This also, I want to give you guys a heads up. This Jason thing that we're ending here, we're gonna change it very soon. So if you want to know what that is, tweet at me. Bye.
Jason. 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 Sean. Sean. Sean! Sean, where are you? Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Jason! 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 Jason!